The following show contains adult content. It's not our intent to offend anyone, but we want to inform you that if you are a child under the age of 18 or get offended easily, this next show may not be for you. The content, opinions, and subject matter of these shows are solely the choice of your show hosts and their guests, and not those of the Entertainment Network or any affiliated stations. Any comments or inquiries should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for listening.
Sitting down and designing, where every man in the thinking, what are we gonna be wearing? Yo, I'm a Liverpool MC, you can't test me. Big up the girls inside the party. Let's get down to crazy Jimmy. Big up myself and known as Alfie, the one and only, the Turkish MC.
Always love the clothes of Jimmy.
Bitch, I'm your one I wanna be. Jimmy Star, new celebrity.
We'll take you out to Jimmy Stars.
Hey ho, what's up everybody? Welcome to the Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell, bringing you the good times in music, fashion, pop culture, and entertainment. And boy, do we have a fun show for you guys today. I think you guys are going to have a lot of fun. Before we say hi to anybody, let's first say hi to our cool, outrageous man about town co-host, Mr. Ron Russell.
Yeah, I'm excited about one of the guests knows all the stars that I used to know from my day. So that should be fun, reminiscing and finding his stories out.
Absolutely. And say hi to Astro,
Astro,
everybody.
say hi to everybody. Oh, he's falling off. He doesn't have his pillow. Astro, say hi, everybody. Hi.
What's up? Chat room is starting to fill up. Hub Reynolds, what's up? Hub Reynolds Jr. is in the chat room. Cindy Lady Lake's in the chat room. Hi, Teresa Sabin. Hope everybody's doing well. So our two guests this week, we have Julian Schlossberg, who's a producer who's done like almost everything, and he wrote a new book, and he's worked with some big people, which we'll brag about later. And then we have actor Currie Graham coming on, who's from, actually, if you're young, he won't be from some of your favorite shows, but he was from huge things. If you guys remember, Boston Legal was one of my absolute all-time favorite shows. Murder in the First, Suddenly Susan, which was that show with Brooke Shields. Big hit TV show. Anyway, he was a major character on lots of TV shows and movies, and we're going to have him coming on. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So it's a guy's show today.
A guy's show, better than last week. You know, we pulled our show last week. We didn't put it out there because those people were so like, I don't know what they were, but I mean, since when, if you tell a woman she's beautiful, it's offensive? You know why they say it's offensive? Because it's comparing them to an unattractive woman. So by pulling them and saying, you're beautiful, it makes the other one feel bad that she's not beautiful. And you don't, it's bullshit. It's the same thing about winning awards. Everybody gets a medal if you run the
participation trophy.
Huh?
A participation trophy.
Right. It's the same thing with, how do you not tell a woman she's beautiful when she's beautiful? I don't say it to compete with unattractive women, because you know what? One man's meat's another man's poison. So some women that I think are beautiful, most men think are beautiful, but not. And a lot of ugly women, men think are gorgeous. So, you can't do that. Anyway, they were very difficult. And their publicist sent us the most horrendous, horrific message saying how unprofessional we were. And I brought up ageism and heavy people. Lady, you should have watched some of our shows to know what we do here. We don't blow smoke up anybody's ass. We don't come off as phony. We shoot from the house with the dog. We tell the truth. And if the truth hurts, what can I tell you? You should have put those two dames, broads, girls, because they got angry that I called them girls, because they are women.
Anyway.
How stupid was that? So we pulled that show. That show will never be seen by anybody because it was such a bad show. This is our show. The Jimmy and Ron Show. We created it and we run it. We control it. We let the guests know what we want to talk about, what we don't want to talk about. That's why we're the number one podcast in the world, because we do it differently than anyone else. Everyone else asks the same questions over and over and over again that you, the viewers, know by heart. On our show, we don't even know the questions we're going to ask. So it's all unscripted, unrehearsed. It's natural. Unfiltered. So it's like we have these people in our house as friends. And it's friends coming to visit us. Now, if you can't come and visit us as a friend, don't bother coming.
Yeah,
Don't
even
come
the chat
here.
room agrees with you.
Don't come here with a chip on your shoulder, or you're going to outsmart me, or outbitch me, or outsmart Jimmy. Don't do that. That's not what our show's about. Our show is about fun, friends, and good people. There's nothing mean here. There's nothing evil here. There's no double entendres here that we don't say outright. If it's there, we say it.
I love it.
If we like it, we love it. If we don't like it, we don't say anything, because it's better to say nothing than say something bad. But as far as last week's show goes, it was probably the worst show I have ever been on, or the worst interview I have ever done. And I've interviewed the greatest stars of Hollywood, as you all know. And they were charming and gracious and lovely and wonderful. And when Arlene Dahl was on and I interviewed her and I said how stunningly beautiful she was with her milk white skin and ruby red hair, she did not get offended. When the show was over, she said, "Thank you, Ron. That was a lovely compliment." I said, "Arlene, you're beautiful. How could anyone not see that?"
Anyway,
so, there we go.
We're done. This show's going to be better. Oh, no,
So
no,
even Astro agrees. Even
Yeah,
Astro agrees.
Astro's banging.
Astro, no barking. Astro, come here. No barking today. It's not
Reynolds
allowed.
says he's moving
Now, the
closer
other one
west.
starts it.
He's in Alabama.
Who?
Hub Reynolds, I think, is moving to Alabama. That's not that close to west there. I don't know.
I'm Alabama bound.
That's good for country music, though.
I got the EBGBs.
Hopefully
I'm
you found a nice new
Alabama bound. Hub, you're putting up a lot of sexy pictures of yourself, and that's good because it gets attraction. The women love it. They're all looking at how handsome you are and sexy you are. So do one in like a thong.
Do one in a thong.
I think that might work. And if you really don't have the equipment, just stick a banana in the thong. Nobody will know.
Actually, they say he does. He tells everybody he does.
Well, he says it, but who knows it's true. I mean, I've heard a lot of guys
just
brag.
wait.
No, I've heard a lot of guys brag about how hung they were. And then you'd be at a beach club and the country club. They came out of the shower and you look at it, you go, "Oh, button. Who's got a button?" Come on, a lot of men have penis pride. They all think they're hung.
That's hilarious. So you guys, you can listen to the show weekly. We're on our home studio station, W4CY.com. We're on from 12 to 2 p.m. Pacific time, 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern time. You can also hear us on SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Music, YouTube, Google Podcasts, Radio Public, TuneIn, Pandora, and Amazon Prime. Those are the biggest ones. We're on about 150 more. Those are the biggest ones.
Astro, come here. What about Astro?
Astro, stop it.
He does no wrong, but not when we're doing a podcast.
Come here, Astro.
Astro, people love to walk their dogs on our lawn, which pisses me off because our lawn gets ruined. The dogs pee in the grass and make spots. And you can't even go out and tell them, "Please don't walk your dog on my lawn," because they grab an attitude. Oh, they go crazy on you. People are so rude today and mean and uncaring. It's just terrible.
I think
How we've lost all of our social etiquettes, all of our kindnesses. Curb your dog. We did that all the time on Long Island. We never let our dogs go on anyone's lawn. We curbed the dog. I think that's where the expression "curb your dog" comes from. But anyway, I hate to complain and bitch, but the world is such a state today. I mean, with China is going to take over America, and we're going to have Chinese money, and they're going to run the country because the president's afraid to fight with China. What is this crap going on? They're all insane, Everybody in Washington is definitely insane. They're all a bunch of pedophiles, whack jobs, nut jobs, screwballs, cheaters, druggies, weirdos that we have in office, and not one of them are decent. Not a one.
Anyway,
as far as I'm concerned.
Let's keep it going for entertainment.
Yes, it's an entertainment show, but we also have a little bit of political crap slipping in because you people have to be aware of the fact that we are in a serious problem. In case you're not listening to the news, which is probably half bullshit anyway.
Right. Actually, it is. So Sunday we're going to see Bang Bang Betty, you guys. It's a red carpet premiere, and some of our new clients at World Star PR are going, and Zach and Zuck. And we had Easter with Zach and Zuck and Ron's two beautiful daughters, and we had a great time for Easter.
And Walter came and
Austin and Carl.
And Carl.
Zach and Zuck and Deirdre and Leslie. And then,
so the house was filled with young people. And as I spoke, I became invisible. because they have no idea what I'm speaking about. I have a certain standard of how I entertain and how I do things, and it's not. These boys don't understand that. They come from, people that.
Well, they're 24.
They're 24 years old. They're farmers from Pennsylvania. They drink beer and put cans on the furniture.
But we had a great time. Don't kid anybody. We had a great time.
No, I had a wonderful time. I enjoyed myself because, like I wrote on Facebook, I get tired of always having old bags in the house. It's nice to have young people
And
around.
then Monday night, we had dinner with BJ Mezek, who's been on the show several times, with his wife, Shelly, and we went out to dinner, and then they came over for coffee and dessert.
And I posted a picture of her playing a joke on everybody on Facebook, and I said, look, it's Julianne Moore, because I almost fell over dead when I met her. She was absolutely, in person, Julianne Moore's double. Her teeth, her smile, her speech, her voice, everything. I just said to her, you have got to be her stand-in, because they'll never find a Julianne Moore stand-in that looks better than you do. And she turned out to be one of the nicest people in the world. And, of course, her husband, BJ, we know. He's been on the show a few times. And BJ is a regular guy. He's a good guy. He's a straight shooter. He tells it like it is. He's not Hollywood, oh, darling, all that bullshit. No, he's a regular person, normal. There are a couple of normal people, in Hollywood. In our business, maybe 2 or 3 or 4, maybe normal ones. The rest are all cool.
Hilarious. So I think
what are you doing on the cell phone, darling?
Well, I want to make sure he's not having a problem getting in, because he said he was going to come in a few minutes early, and he didn't come in. So I'm trying to make sure.
Well, maybe he's waiting for me to shut up.
No, I see it when they come in. They let me know.
So come on in.
So in the meantime, let's take a music break, you guys. So this is Stevie B, you guys. This is his new song. It's called "Take It All Back." It's got remixed by DJ Sama. It's got Pitbull. We're going to play the video for you guys, and then hopefully by that time we'll be ready to go with our first guest. So enjoy, everybody.
Pitbull, Stevie B, go back, way back. From the minute that I seen you, I was sweating you like a freshman does a senior. I couldn't even sleep, waiting for the next day just to see you, girl, just to see you. When you walk by my heart, it skipped the beat like a scratch CD. I was knee deep in them 4 letters L-O-V-E, sprung on sting love, damn, she got me.
Take it all back. You remember way back time when the world was so uptight, and hot damn I miss it. Hot damn I miss it. We were young, we were wild and free. All I wanted was a move with feet, and hot damn I miss it. Hot damn I miss it. You look around and everybody was getting down. No one on the wall and standing up in the crowd. We put our problems up on the shelves and enjoyed ourselves. I know it helps. If we take it all back to how it used to be, it only you and me. It's all love. If we can take it all back to breaking in the streets and falling up to the beat, we don't want. If we can take it all back, your body, I make you feel right. Your body, dancing to the morning light. Your body, you and me, you want some more. Your body. Take it all back to this Friday night. Hot Wheels on Miami was you and I. Hot damn, I miss it. Good times, no static. Southeast and Southern right. Little heat to the mix, make dynamite. Freestyle was solid. Couldn't tell us nothing. We put the groove sound of love on the radio. Our 96 did and made us unstoppable. This singing music never gets old. It should move your soul. I know you know. If we take it all back to how it used to be, it only you and me. It's all love. If we can take it all back to breaking in the streets and falling up to the beat, we don't want. If we can take it all back, dreaming of love, thinking of you, remembering times when we were shared, dreaming of love, thinking of you, knowing someday you'll come back to my life.
Ready, set, go.
Take it all back to the days when the place to be was a basement or a road skating ring, and I know you miss it. I know you miss it. And the DJ would make sweet when it break, when it rock goes Stevie B. Those gems are sitting, damn right they hitting. You looked around and everybody had a smile. Rockin' waves, face and boom, I said was freestyle. Our only worry was the curfew. What our folks would do, tell you the truth. If we take it all back to how it used to be, and it only you and me, it's our love. If we can take it all back to breaking in the streets and falling love to the beat, we were one. If we can take it all back.
Wrong one spring love damn, she got me. Wrong one spring love damn, she got me.
Come back to me. Come back to me.
Pump up the party, pump up the party, pump up the party. Pump up the party, pump up the party, pump up the party.
Take it all back to the good times, weekend nights. We got fly doing the walk to daylight. If I could, I'd press rewind to 85 and make sure you're by my side so we can go back to how it used to be. It only you and me, it's our love. If we can take it all back to breaking in the streets and falling love to the beat, we were one. If we can take it all back.
Go back, way back.
If we take it all back.
I don't understand.
Take it all back. If we take it all back to how it used to be, it only you and me, it's our love. If we can take it all back to breaking in the streets and falling love to the beat, we were one. If we can take it all back. If we take it all back.
We need more bottles. We need more bottles.
Take it all back.
I have to tell you, I know the man, Stevie. Besides being a terrific, sensational guy, I love his music. So it makes me happy that I'm able to say, I love Stevie's music. It makes you want to dance. It's fabulous music. He's trying desperately with many others to bring that feeling back to music. We need good dance music like we used to have years ago. We can't all be stoned and just stand there doing this on the dance floor. That's dull and boring. We want to start to dance again and get with it. Stevie B's wife, who I'm crazy about, they're married for like ever. They have grown children. They have a magnificent home in South America with a swimming pool in the living room. And they also live in
Smile for B.
in Florida,
Smile for B.
right?
Smile for B.
What?
Smile for B.
Oh, Smile for B.
Hey B, welcome. She says we're a little bit foggy because it's so bright, I guess. But
I like being
yeah, we
foggy.
look
You
good.
can't see the wrinkles. It looks great. Anyway, his wife is terrific. You know what? I believe if a person is truly, genuinely wonderful, their music shows it. Just like anything you do. If you're a good, kind, nice person, everything you do shows it. And also, if you're mean and nasty and rotten, doesn't that show also in what you do, your work, your attitude, your thinking? You're mostly negative if you're mean and rotten and nasty. Everything in your life is negative and you think negatively. And Not me, baby. I like positive. I'm going to be 83 soon, next month, May. Woo, 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 woo. 83. How'd this happen? I was just 27 about a month ago.
That's hilarious.
But the truth is, it is what it is, and we can't change it. So I'm positive about it. Jimmy keeps telling me talk until we get our next guest.
No, I'm working on it, you guys. I think that we did a test, and I think he's on the test link because he's saying that he's sitting there waiting for us, and Juan's saying he's not here. So I think he's in the test link.
Okay. So what am I going to talk about? Let's talk about me. I mean, my favorite subject, me. Let's talk about how stunningly gorgeous I am, thin, built like better than Hub Reynolds. Got a better body than that fat thing. Ugh. Anyway, Hub. And I'm handsomer than Hub, and I'm sexier than Hub. Hub Reynolds thinks who he is just because he's tall and got a great body and is gorgeous, and all the women go crazy for him. He thinks who he is. But in my day, Hub, you wouldn't have stood a chance. No, I'm only kidding. I really am not a narcissistic person. If I was, I would have facelifts like I did last week. Those bitches, they got upset because I talked about ageism. I was talking about I want a facelift. Is that a subject I'm not allowed to talk about? I was saying that they didn't need a facelift. I said I needed the facelift. And they got upset. That was an ageist. What's ageist? The truth is, look at these friggin' puppet lines. Look, I get rid of the puppet lines in the neck. Look. Why shouldn't I look like this? Now B should take a picture.
Gee, Astro's running around someplace. He's in the window watching people walk by so he can bark and ruin the show.
I mean, look at that. What's wrong? I mean, I said it. I'm going to crazy glue my fingers to my face like this. I mean, what's wrong with looking this way instead of looking that way? So there you go. So, Jimmy, where is this guy?
We're working on it.
Hey, what's his first name?
His first name is Julian.
Julian, move it, baby. Let's go. Shake a leg.
Can you guys hear me?
Oh, there he is.
Hey, Julian.
This is fantastic. You guys are young. You're just too young. I'm too old for this. I've been trying to get in there since noon, but here I am.
So how old are you?
I'll be 82.
Yeah, well, I'm 83 in May. I'm older than you, and I do this crap every week.
Yeah, but he doesn't log in.
I'm here for 2 hours every week.
I told everybody, I bet you went to the test link, right?
Of course.
Yes.
You told everybody correctly. And you, Ron Russell, know Jane Russell.
I knew Jane really well. That's why my name is Russell. I took it when I was 16 years old because 19. Because they said to me my ethnic name, my real name was too Italian and no one would remember it. And they said, do you have another name that you could use? And I said, yes, my idol. And they said, who was that? And I said, Jane Russell. I just seen her with Marilyn in Gentlemen for Blondes. So I said, I'm going to be Ron Russell. And I became Ron Russell. The best was, Jane and I hung out. When we went out, they'd say, Mr. Russell, your wife. Because they thought that Jane Russell and Ron Russell were married.
I did a film with her, Ron. I did a film with her where she was wonderful.
Which film?
Hollywood Uncensored. And we talked to her about The Outlaw and how Hughes had this famous bra that he designed and everything. And she was terrific to talk to, really very forthcoming. And, of course, as you know, she did Gentlemen Prefer Brunettes after Blondes.
Which was a bomb of bombs because Howard Hughes thought...
Wait, we need to introduce him before we do all of this. Okay. Hang on. First, Julian, let me ask you a question. Are you on a laptop?
No, I'm on a computer.
Does it come down some so that we can move your head a little bit more to the middle of the screen? Or no?
Sure, I'll try. That's the way.
Other way.
Because some of our viewers want more head.
There we go.
Those are my kind of viewers.
All right, everybody. Now we want to wait. Let me introduce him.
I'm excited.
Now we want to welcome to the Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell, world-renowned producer and now author Julian Schlossberg. Hello and welcome to the show. We're so happy to have you.
Oh, thank you. I'm so happy to be here. It's a pleasure.
Okay.
You guys, go ahead, Ron.
Gentlemen Prefer Brunettes. Jane and I discussed over and over again. She didn't want to do it Hughes insisted she do it because he felt that, Marilyn Monroe was not the star of Gentlemen Prefer Blondes. It was Jane Russell starring in Gentlemen Prefer Blondes with Marilyn Monroe. But the press ran with it was a Marilyn Monroe film, which it really was not. Jane couldn't have cared less. Well, she wasn't that way, as you know. She wasn't about stardom at all. And Hughes said to her, we're going to do another film where you're going to be the star and it's going to put the other movie away. And Jane said, it'll never happen. She said, Blondes is a once-in-a-million movie.
That's right.
And it was. Brunettes never made it. Brunettes was terrible.
I didn't even know there was a Brunettes
Yes,
one.
she did it with, what's her name, Jean Crane.
Jeannie Crane.
Yeah, Jeannie Crane, who she liked a lot, but she said terrible casting. Jeannie Crane is the furthest thing from an accomplice like Marilyn was. Anyway, Hughes just had this thing about Jane's boobs. Jane Russell, I asked her on my interview, which is on YouTube, Jane, what size bra were you in 1940? And she said a 36B. That's all she was a 36B. And they made her out to be a 42 triple D with cannons, with these rockets. She never had a huge bust at all. Her bust was she had a lot of bust under her armpits. So when she leaned forward, that flesh came forward and her bust looked huge. But Jane standing straight up, here's a story, true story. And then I'll give you the floor. We're in my house in Florida, and I'm taking Jane to an award she's getting at the Cinema Paradiso Theater. And Jane is in the guest room dressing, and she comes into the living room, and I looked at her. I said, Jane, what happened to your tits? She said, what are you talking about? I said, your tits are down here like an old lady. Tighten up the bra, jack up that bra. She said, I got up as high as it goes, Ron. So I yelled to my daughter, Leslie. I said, Leslie, do you have anything you could give Jane Russell to lift those bazooms? She's famous for her boobs. Here they are, like old lady tits. So she took everything, by the way, with a grain of salt. She had a wonderful sense of humor. She loved that audacity of me. My audacity was her favorite thing. So my daughter gave her a brown push-up bra that my daughter still has to this day, that she said she will never give up. And Jane's boobs were nice and pointy and upright. I said, now your boobs are nice. I said, you're Jane Russell. She said, I don't want to be known for my boobs anymore. I'm an old lady. Leave me alone. I said, shut up and get in the limo. Let's go. I mean, we were tough, dude. I used to smack her in the ass sometimes. Say, come on, Russell, move it. And she'd say to her pianist, Peter, look how he treats me.
So hang on. So first of all, Julian, we have a chat room starting to fill up with people. Say hi to everybody in the chat room.
Well, hello, everybody in the chat room.
They're already loving it.
But I miss Jane all the time. I do tributes to her on her birthday and on her death day because I promised her, as long as I'm alive, I will keep her name alive. I love and adore that woman. She was a bitchy, snotty woman. Sometimes she could be nasty. But most of the time, she was wonderful. Your story.
No, I'm going to talk.
No, I want his story.
I'm going to talk. Jane. So first of all, you guys, Julian has a book, and we're going to specifically talk.
But we'll get there.
Just wait a second. Please let me talk.
No, I'm not going to let you
talk.
No,
you're
not going to talk.
No, anyway, listen.
Let him talk about finish the Jane episode.
No, I want to.
You can't go to.
I'm bragging about him.
We'll brag after he talks about. People want to know his story about Jane. He made a movie with Jane.
We'll get to it. No, we're going to get to that.
No, you can't go and come back and go back.
I want to tell people that we are going to be talking about his book. It's called Try Not to Hold It Against Me, A Producer's Life. And I want to brag for him first because people need to know what royalty he actually is.
Let them get to know who he is. And we'll get the bullshit after.
No, it's not bullshit. This is real stuff. So these are some of the people.
It's Hollywood bullshit.
These are all the people that Julian has worked with, entertained, partied with, done all kinds. This isn't all of them. This is the list of ones that everybody will know.
And I will raise my hand.
Jack Nicholson, Jane Fonda, George Burns, Shirley MacLaine, Anthony Hopkins, Bob Hope, Angela Lansbury, Betty Davis, Dustin Hoffman, Clint Eastwood, Bruce Springsteen, I love that, Mia Farrow, Woody Allen, Burt Reynolds, Alfred Hitchcock, Twiggy, Peter Falk, Elaine May, Barbara Streisand, and then I read that you even testified against the Beatles, which I don't know what you had testified about them for, but just the fact that you would that means you knew them somehow. So congratulations on all of that.
See how you got lost on that whole bit.
I didn't get lost.
You got lost on it.
I didn't get lost.
What we were talking about, Jane, was life.
I know.
We're going to finish. Please.
Here's my feeling. You guys don't need a guest. You don't need guests.
No, we fight.
I could watch you guys all day. I feel I'm interrupting. It's not fair.
No, I'm fighting for you because listen, if there's a Jane Russell story out there I don't know, it is important for me to know. I care.
Well, I would imagine, Ron, you do know, but it was just how she never expected the outlaw to do what it did. She couldn't believe what had happened. And she was, she had a religious feeling about religion and was very dedicated with that. But it was just nice chatting with her. I was glad that I got to know her and that I got her on film. I don't know if anyone would buy it these days, but at one time it was called Hollywood Uncensored. And what you guys may remember that the original King Kong got censored because when the big ape held that lady, Fay Ray, in his arms, he started peeling off her clothes. And they didn't like that. So they took that out. So we kind of put everything that was taken out of movies that we could get to be put back in. And that some of the outlaw was the same. That's why we interviewed her.
It was only her cleavage because she said the camera was there in front of her and they said, lean over and put the blanket over what's his name. And she did. And that was it. Everybody went nuts because they saw 4 inches of cleavage. As Jane said on my interview, she said, and today they show cleavage in the back and it's okay.
Well, you guys remember we went through the bullet bra period when all the actresses had to wear the bullet bras. I mean, it was absurd, but we're a memory country in some ways.
Well, don't forget.
That was a joke.
It's the first thing a man puts in his mouth is a breast. Remember that.
It's true. It's true.
And he never forgets.
So wait, so what the
even though he may want to forget.
Yeah.
Now you're Jewish, I could tell.
I didn't hide it well.
Yeah.
No,
so am I. So do I hide it well?
Well, Russell will help. How about Ken Russell? Remember him?
Who?
Ken Russell?
Ken Russell. The director. Women in Love, Listomania, Tommy, all these.
Okay. Yes.
English fellow. English chap, as they say.
Remember, Russell's not my real name.
I know. I wanted to make sure, though.
What did you think of Betty? I knew Betty pretty well.
I didn't know her well, but I spent some time with her. I thought she was terrific. She was feisty. She was smart. And she took on the studios. She was one of the few actresses that took on the studios and Jack Warner. A lot of people don't know that. She walked out. She went to England. She made a couple of movies, and they had to get her back. No, she was a tough cookie, and I liked her a lot. But I would never call, like you had a real friend with Jane. I just was I met her once or twice, and that was it.
No, but I was in Betty's company a lot of times. And the thing that I loved most about Betty was she cursed a lot. And I found fuck was one of her favorite words. They all thought she was the great lady in Now Voyager, this wonderful, absolutely fabulous spoken woman. In real life, she was a tough broad from Connecticut. She was a Yank. And you couldn't pull any shit off with her. She let you have it right between the eyes. And she came into I had a showroom on Robertson Boulevard, a wallpaper showroom. And she came in. She was walking up and down the street and just wandered in. And I had known her already. And she was surprised that it was our salon. And we ordered a toilet seat for her. And it was a padded toilet seat, foam. And it matched the wall covering. And she said, "Oh, I love this toilet seat." She said, "Now I'll be comfortable when I sit there reading scripts." And you know what she'd say after that? Because today's news is tomorrow's toilet paper. And she always had a whimsical remark to say. But the thing I found fascinating about her was a cocktail party up at her apartment on Havenhurst. I looked at her and I said, "Betty, it's amazing how you can inhale a cigarette and down a gulp of scotch and the smoke comes out." She said, I forgot to die. Oh my God, I'm losing my mind. What did she say to me? Something like, takes talent, something like that, with a whimsical remark. But it's true. Betty was a fabulous lady, but just don't mess with her. She could turn on you in a minute if you didn't treat her well.
Well, certainly you and I did treat her well.
Oh, I did, because I thought she was fabulous and I loved her,
So wait, I'm going to go back. So because you produce documentaries and movies. Because I've actually seen one of your movies. So some of the documentaries we already talked about. Hollywood Uncensored. You produced.
I remember Hollywood Uncensored.
Another one called Going Hollywood, the 1930s. Then we had Hollywood Ghost Stories. Then we had Going Hollywood, the War Years. Then you did a video anthology for Bruce Springsteen, which I love Bruce Springsteen. That's like a big for my like high school days growing up. He was huge. But then you also did a documentary on Elia Kazan, A Director's Journey, and The Lion King, the Al Hirschfield story.
Eli, not Elliot. Eli.
Elia. It's Elia. How do you say his name?
Elliot.
Actually, you say Elia.
Elia. Okay, Elia Kazan.
You hit the E.
And I actually have seen the movie Widow's Peak that you did with Mia Farrow, Natasha Richardson, Joan Plowright, and Jim Broadbent. And then you did a film, and he likes all these people, so I want to mention it. It's called In the Spirit with Jeannie Berlin, Peter Falk, Olympia Dukakis, Melanie Griffith, Elaine May, and Marlo Thomas, which I don't know who Elaine May is. So who's Elaine May?
Elaine May was married to, what's his name, the other comedian, and they were a team.
They weren't married, but they were a great team. Mike Nichols and Elaine May.
And Elaine May is the mother of my buddy who I love, Berlin. I love her.
Jeannie, yes.
Jeannie. Yes. I love Jeannie Berlin. She's as crazy as a loon, and I adore her. Yeah. I've had the best times with Jeannie Berlin. The best.
I have to tell her that. I'll be talking to her today. Because,
please do.
I've done a lot of Broadway and off-Broadway plays, almost 40 or 50 of them. And Jeannie and Elaine have been in a couple of them. And it's I think all three of us have something in common. We love the business we're in, and how wonderful that we've been able to make a living and enjoy probably some of the most exciting people we've ever met are in the business we're in. It's not easy. That's not an easy thing to find. I once said to Elaine, I know comedy is hard. She said, no, being interesting is hard.
That's hard. You're right. Now, listen, I wrote a movie that I'm looking, because Lainey Kazan was going to do it, and unfortunately, Lainey's got some complications now. Anyway, we can't use Lainey. I need a wife. She has to be Jewish. It's 1943.
I have the perfect person, Renee Taylor.
I love Renee. I know Renee well. Should we be playing my wife? It'll be a grueling film. She's on camera practically every scene in the film. So I don't know that Renee can handle it.
I just did a one-person show with Renee all over the United States called My Life on a Diet. At 90 years old, she can take us on, Ron.
No, I know. I saw that show in Pennsylvania, and I was with Joe Bologna in the wings for 2 hours talking about how he was going to be a priest. I know her for a long time, Renee. And Fran Drescher, they're all in that thinking. But I was thinking of Jeannie Berlin, because she could be. Here's what it is: the woman is a bookie married to me, a mafia guy, and we go out to kill the Nazis that are trying to blow up the Brooklyn Navy Yard. Okay, it's a very interesting film how we do it. But I need a woman who is Brooklyn ethnic speaking, because the dialogue is, and you'll appreciate the humor. It's all Yiddish humor. Like one scene is Jerry the Jew comes up there to sell her a dress. And he says, darling, I got it at Bergdorf. I stole it. You shouldn't tell anybody, but it's a good deal. They go for $8 at Bergdorf. I'll sell it to you for $3. You're robbing me, but I'll give. And she said, $3. Well, you see diamonds on it? I'll give you $2. So you know what I mean? That's the kind of humor that Lainey, I wrote it with Lainey, and I love Lainey. Lainey and I are dear friends for 100 years. And I wrote it for Lainey in mind.
I like Jeannie Berlin.
I love Jeannie. I love Jeannie.
I've never met her. I don't know her.
When you talk to Jeannie, say the last time I saw her was with Joe and Renee at what's his name's play, the fat comedian, that Dom DeLuise, the Dom DeLuise event. I sat with Renee and Joe and Jeannie.
I love it. So do you like doing plays more or movies more? Because you've done
the nice thing about doing a play is you have a little more control than you do. You're on one location. You don't have to be worried about the setup. You don't have to. You're just in a place where you can also have 4 weeks of rehearsal, So, in a film, you got that train starts and you're not controlling it. You're holding on, but you're not controlling it. So as a producer and a guy who likes to be hands-on, I do like theater better. Of course, film, you can make more money, but that's never been my problem. I've never made that much.
No, there's no. I've been on the boards, and let me tell you something. There's nothing like it. I used to have 350 people because I impersonated Jane Russell. Believe it or not, there was a day I did. I was an illusionist, never a drag queen. It was an act. I sang and danced and did jokes, and I would have an audience of 350, 400 people for dinner shows throughout the United States. And the feeling that when you want to hit the button and get that laugh out there, and they laugh when you hit the button, is the best feeling in the world. There's nothing like it. Film, I hate film. I do a lot of movies, but it's like, what? I don't even know what I'm doing half the time.
Well, and as you know, you don't shoot in sequence most of the time. So, so it's very hard to know what you're doing half the time. But I've been very fortunate because I've worked with the best comedy writers, Larry Gelbart, Neil Simon, Woody Allen, Elaine May, Mike, all these, Ethan Coen, even David Mamet. So that's kind of my bent, Jimmy, when you asked the question when we both were much younger.
Yeah.
The best. See, now I should be like being nice to you now, blowing smoke up your ass so you'll give me a part in a Broadway show. But I can't do that. I can't ask you. You know why?
And I would prefer not to have smoke up my ass.
Wait a minute. Hey, listen. You know why I won't smear you or ask you? Because
Why?
I don't remember lines. I can never remember my lines on stage. I'm 83. You're lucky I remember in a movie. So
well, you certainly are articulate. So you know how to talk extemporaneously, clearly.
I can speak up a storm, but I can't remember jack shit.
Yeah, but on the other hand, as you know, in film, we can hold the card up, give you a teleprompter. Yeah. We can do a lot of things.
Yeah,
he's fine with that. In film, he can do it.
But when you're on stage, there's no.
No, you can't mess around there.
That's what I'm saying. So if you offered me a part on the boards, I'd have to decline and say, I'm sorry.
Well, the hell with the smoke. I don't want any smoke.
No, I said that. I said that to Jane. I said to Jane, I could get you in a couple of movies. Why don't you do a movie? And she said to me, no. I said, why? She said, because I can't remember lines, Ron. And she couldn't either. You get to an age where they just don't work.
I don't want to say the names because it wouldn't be nice, but we have a lot of actors right now who can't, and they're still shooting.
He says their name all the time.
On the other hand,
I know who they are. Robert De Niro.
I'm not going to say who they are. I'll leave that to you.
I'm going to say Robert De Niro. Johnny Depp all the time because he doesn't like to read scripts or rehearse or learn lines. The other one, the other Italian.
Eric Roberts doesn't remember.
Eric Roberts always uses an earplug. I know all.
There's a whole bunch of them.
What's his name? They just gave him $1 million. They put him. He's got Alzheimer's.
Oh, Bruce Willis.
Bruce Willis, and they put him in a movie. Bruce didn't even know where he was, and they were feeding him his lines in his earplug, and he got $1 million. I thought, wow, hasn't the business changed?
It's a nice way to make a living, I guess. Yeah,
you bet your buns on that one.
So wait, I want to talk. So you have a book because I want to play the little trailer in a minute for everybody. The book is called "Try Not to Hold It Against Me: A Producer's Life." So how'd you come up with the title, and what's the title? So what does that mean? Try not to hold it against me.
Well, when you work as I have with controversial people for different reasons, there are always going to be people who say, "Well, why are you working with him, or why did you do that?" We mentioned Elia Kazan was my mentor, and Elia Kazan was probably one of the only directors who excelled in both film and theater, as you guys know. The original director on Broadway of Streetcar Named Desire, of Death of a Salesman, of All My Sons, but in film, on the waterfront and Facing the Crowd, so much stuff. But he did name names during the McCarthy period. There's no question he did. As did Jerome Robbins, Lee J. Cobb, Clifford Odets, and a lot of other people. Yeah, so it was never a good time. So Kazan is one reason. I also worked with a fellow named Alan Klein. Alan Klein was the man who was the manager and producer of both the Rolling Stones and the Beatles. And a very controversial figure. And that's how the Beatles story got into the book, which I'll tell you, Jimmy, if we don't run out of time.
Okay.
The other couple of people, well, there's Woody Allen. I've produced most of his plays, and of course, he's quite controversial these days. I consider him one of the great artists of the 20th century. And very few people have done what he did, write and direct a movie every year. It's extraordinary. And on top of that, as far as I'm concerned, only one person in the world knows the truth, and it's Woody, not the little girl, nobody else. And finally, there was a rock and roll promoter in Buffalo. If Sinatra or the Stones came to America, he, even in Buffalo, would be one of the 5 or 6 promoters who would present it. His name was Harvey Weinstein.
Oh, I know.
And he came to me to learn the movie business. And I taught him the film business. He was a smart, articulate, funny guy from the hood. But as I write in the book, Jimmy and Ron, I said I never expected him to reach the heights he reached or the depths he sunk to. So with those names involved, from Woody to Weinstein, to Klein to Gazan, there were reasons for people to not hold it against. Didn't want them to hold it against me.
Oh, I think, those are your life experiences.
Why would talent be so suppressed? This is my feeling. They're suppressing talent. They're not letting the talent come forward. They're coming forward with bullshit. Harvey, I knew from the Friars Club in Beverly Hills. Saul Lux was a member, and he used to bring me there. Saul Lux is a very good friend. He's dead now. And
do you know who Saul Lux is?
No, but he was a urologist. He was a big Beverly Hills urologist, and one of my dearest friends. His wife Barbara and I were in business together. Barbara Lux. He was probably one of the nicest people you ever want to meet. Harvey. I didn't find him to be objectionable. So what if he got a little sleazy? So everybody did. I hate to tell you, Milton Berle chased me. Oh, I shouldn't say that. Anyway, a lot of people out there were hitting on each other back in those days. You know why? Because in our business, we couldn't go out of our business to have sex because the word would get out. So everybody, if somebody had gonorrhea, 100 people in the business had gonorrhea. And each one would tell the other one, don't go with that one. That one had gonorrhea. So it was a family of people, whatever.
Anyway, I'm really rather interested in you guys because I've never gone on a show that within the first half hour, we've discussed gonorrhea, we've discussed memories, we've discussed things that no one else. I'm
Wait till we discuss the size of your penis.
So what I want to do is I want to actually
Julian, I feel like I know you. Have I ever met you? Have we ever met?
I think if we had met, Ron, it would have been dangerous.
We would have remembered each other because
absolutely.
Did you know Shelley Winters?
I know she did my show. I had a radio show for 9 years. She did my show, but I didn't know her. And she was very unhappy when she came on and left pretty unhappy, too. She was doing the Marx Brothers of Minnie's Boys on Broadway about the Marx Brothers. And she was going through a bad period. So, no, I never did know her, Ron. Yeah, but I think if you and I met, we would be still talking.
Yes.
Well, I mean, we would have met 30, 40 years ago. I had black hair, and we both were the same age. I'm only a year older than you are. So we must have traveled the same.
And he's from Brooklyn.
Yeah, I'm from Brooklyn. So we must.
And I'm a Bronx guy. So
you're the Bronx, and I'm Brooklyn.
So hang on. So first of all, tell everybody we're going to play the trailer. I'm going to let you introduce the trailer in 1 second. But the book, you guys, it's called "Try Not to Hold It Against Me: A Producer's Life." Where is it available? Where does everybody go to get it?
It was very exciting for me, Jimmy and Ron, because frankly, I'm not a public name. I mean, people in the business know me, but the public doesn't. And they put the book out on January 31st, and it sold out. The first printing, a couple of thousand books. So the next one printing took a couple of months. I think the publisher was shocked. What? We don't have any more books. So anyhow, it's available now on Amazon. It's actually this Saturday, 2 days from now, 3 days from now. It's being published again. The second publication. But guys, the 15th, April 15th.
That's awesome.
Listen, tease me. Let me hear a little. about it. Give me a little about the book.
Well, I like when the people say to me, Ron, what is it about? And I'll generally say, well, it's about 340 pages. You know,
of what? Of what?
It's a memoir. It's a memoir of. Well, you know what, Jimmy, this is a great cue for the trailer, right?
Okay, so you introduced the trailer, and we're going to play it for everybody. Juan, you key it up, and we're going to play the Julian Schlossberg book trailer. But you introduce it.
Okay, so you should send me your book. Would you send me one for free?
I absolutely will. But here's the deal.
Sign it for me.
Well, I wouldn't send it without that.
Good.
You know,
Julian, you introduced the trailer. Let's get everybody watch it. Let's
and then wait a second. Books. After I read the book, we'll have you back on, and the two of us could critique the book.
Well, that would be. Listen, we could. You know what? You guys will love this. I got my friends to go to Sardis, and I had F. Murray Abraham, Tony Roberts, Lila Robbins, and Marlo Thomas all read chapters from the book, and I did too. So that kind of launched the book, and that was kind of exciting for me. Jimmy, I'm trying to figure out how to. I'm trying to figure out how to introduce the trailer. I made it 6 months. I made it 6 months ago.
Yeah, I'm Julian Schlossberg, and here's the trailer for my new book called
a new book that you should read if you want to know about Hollywood.
There you go. Something like that.
Theater.
No, go for it. Don't use what I said. Re-say what I said. Go.
Julian, I wish I were you, because you're so. I miss New York terribly. I'm not a Californian. I don't like it out here. And I wish I could be like you, in with all those people that you're in with in New York, because they're valuable. The people I'm in with out here are all nuts.
Well, I have to say the people in New York are not exactly sane either, Ron.
But they hold it together better.
But I'll tell you this much: they have
New York nuts.
I would say they have a better intellect. I would say that by and large.
And he likes New York nuts better than California nuts.
I like the chic of New York, the smart of New York. And New York still has class. California never had class, and now it has less than class. New York still has cocktail parties where people know how to behave.
So hold on.
You remember what Fred Allen said about California?
He said
Fred Allen said, LA is a great place to live if you're an orange.
Exactly.
Exactly. All right, Julian, go ahead. Introduce it for us. You can do it.
I like what you said, Jimmy, but I was much younger. Let's see. I'm Julian Schlossberg, and I want to show you a trailer of a book that I've just written, and I think you're going to like it, at least the book.
There you go. And what's the name of the book?
Try Not to Hold It Against Me, A Producer's Life.
All right, take it away, Juan.
All these plays you are viewing, all these TV specials, and all these movies, and many more I produced. I'm Julian Schlossberg. You may not know what a producer is, but every project in show business has a producer. Every movie, every play, every TV show, every song. So what does a producer do? Well, a real producer finds the project, hires the director, raises the money, is involved in the casting, and in charge of the ad campaign, the publicity, and the marketing. I produced for Matthew Broderick, Mike Nichols, Elaine May, Alan Arkin, Sid Caesar, Richard Dreyfuss, Peter Falk, Woody Allen, Vanessa Redgrave, and Orson Welles. And in my book, Try Not to Hold It Against Me, A Producer's Life, I describe the pain, the frustration, and the joy of producing. I produced so far over 60 movies, plays, and TV specials, and then finally wrote this book. I hope that for anyone interested in show business, the secrets revealed in Try Not to Hold It Against Me will surprise and entertain and will not be held against me. Well,
hey, I had your website at the end too, JulianSchlossbergProducer.com.
Oh, thank you. Ron, I want to tell you both, Jimmy and Ron, that you may remember there was a great film, the comic team of Olsen and Johnson.
Oh, I loved Olsen and Johnson. Are you kidding?
I love them too. And Jimmy, if you don't know who they were, it was kind of like kind of an Abbott and Costello.
Okay.
And the little fat guy, the Costello guy, was Chick Johnson. And in this movie, Hellzapoppin', he's on the stand, and he's being cross-examined by a tough prosecutor. He says, remember, anything you say can be held against you. And he jumps up and goes, Marlene Dietrich.
Wasn't there a movie called Ghostbusters? Or I know Hellzapoppin' is one, but didn't they have one Ghostbusters?
I think you're right. Yes, I do. But I think Hellzapoppin' was their big one. And you remember Jerry Lewis tried to take it as a Broadway play, and he closed it out of town. He couldn't do it at all. But it was a funny thing. I'm going to tell you the Beatles story, but if I keep telling these stories, there's no point in buying the book.
Just give us the Beatles one, and then we'll talk not about the book, but about some other things in your career.
Now, I want to talk about, we had to have met, because when I lived in Manhattan, I would go to everything that was valuable to go to. So
what years were you there, Ron?
I lived on 75th and 3rd from 1975, I believe, till maybe 84.
You know what's interesting? I would have thought you would have been one of the listeners to my show, because those were the years I was on those all of the 70s.
I don't know why, but
what was the name of your show?
Julian Schlossberg's Movie Talk was on WMCA. On WMCA.
The fog is starting to lift. I thought I knew something about you. The more you're talking, I think I remember that.
Wouldn't it be funny if you were on the show and we both forgot?
No. I was not on the show, but I think I remember the show.
It was on from 8 to midnight.
Did you know Christopher?
Every week? Every day?
Every Sunday night.
Did you know Christopher Walken?
I don't know him. No, I've met him, but I don't know him.
I'm trying to get the connection. There's got to be. Did you know Perry Winkler or Lee Winkler of Global Enterprises?
You know, so far I'm really scoring a big 0. I don't.
How about Georgie Klinger, Georgiana Heller, Georgiana, the producer? You must know Georgianne.
Yeah, I don't.
Oh, she does all the English.
Sounds to me like I could be a fraud. I could be one.
No. The only people that we do know is Renee Taylor.
Oh, I know Renee.
Who's the lady who's your friend? The lady who did that won the Tony Award.
That won a Tony Award?
Yeah.
Oh, Cheetah Rivera.
No, not Cheetah Rivera. Your friend who financed it and they won a Tony Award. She came out. She was on our show. I forgot her name.
Fran Bizarre. Fran Bizarre.
Nope.
Francine
Okay,
Bizarre.
That's okay. So we're not going to worry about how you guys don't know each other.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Because I want to hear that. First of all, I love your book trailer, and I love the fact that now I forget Vanessa Redgrave. I mean, those are like the people who are like
royalty,
like royal. I mean, yeah. I mean, the people that you've worked with, they're like young people nowadays probably don't even know who they are, but that's like royalty in Hollywood.
Yeah, and you know, it's so interesting to me because so many people talk in terms of Harvey Weinstein and much less myself about Hollywood. We're not Hollywood. I mean, we may make films in Hollywood, but we are New Yorkers. I mean, that's what he grew up in the streets. I grew up in the streets. Woody grew up in the streets. I mean, most of the people in New York went to Hollywood to make a movie, but ran back to New York.
I'm going to run back.
Yeah, he wants to go back too.
Oh, yeah, I'm telling you, we're moving back. I'm not staying here. I'm not going to croak out here, buddy. I'm going to die in Red Hook, where I came from. Red Hook.
Right near Kingston.
That's my little town, Red Hook.
Oh, but, you're not too far from me. Go ahead, Jim.
I was a big fan. I'm a big Peter Falk Columbo fan. As a matter of fact, I've been looking for old action figures of his on eBay because I collect action figures. But how was Peter Falk? Because I'm a huge Peter Falk fan.
I loved working with Peter. I did a few things with him. He called me one day and he said, "Would you I'm going to come to New York and I want to see this play called Orphans. They want me to come and replace John Mahoney, who was playing it." And we went to see it, and I thought it was really good. And Peter is very much like the character Columbo. It's not a huge jump. He'd say, Hey, Julian, what do you think? You know, he was just that way. And I said, okay, Pete, we'll talk soon. He said, one more thing. Just one. I mean, really, that raincoat.
Just like Columbo.
His raincoat, that is his raincoat. That was his raincoat. But Peter was terrific to work with. And while he didn't come to New York, he ended up doing Orphans in L.A. and San Francisco. I was very fortunate to be friendly with all three of the guys, Ben Gazzara and John Cassavetes.
I love Ben Gazzara.
I represented John on his films, because he owned a lot of his own films, Faces, Shadows, The Killing of a Chinese Bookie, and Opening Night, and the beautiful one, Woman Under the Influence, with Jenna Rollins, who was nominated.
She lived here in Palm Springs, not far from where we live now. We're in Palm Springs, by the way. And she lived right down the two communities down. And I would see her from time to time. I never spoke to her because she seemed to always be getting in and out of a car quickly. But I
Orson Welles
loved Jenna Rollins, loved her.
And Orson Welles you worked with.
Why not consider be bi-coastal? Get out of New York in the winter and be in Palm Springs.
That's what he wants. Once I get planted back in New York, Barbara Rosenblatt with one T, Cantor Rosenblatt's niece.
No, but I know if we keep doing this, we're going to find somebody.
No, if you don't, you must know Barbara Rosenblatt. She was in Secret Garden. She played the housekeeper.
I don't know her. No.
Jesus, we're missing by something. I know so many people in New York. We've got to hit one.
Oh, well, we said Jeannie Berlin, and she's moved to New York, so she's here now.
Yeah, but she was never my friend. She was a person I know. There's a difference between know, friend, and met.
Oh, I would say it. But of course, in our business, everybody's a friend.
Exactly. I make it very clear when I say I met you today. I know Jenny Berlin, but I was friends with Jane Russell. There's a big difference, with all of that. Because out here, everybody's their best friend. I've had people come up to me and say, "So-and-so loves you." I said, "Who?" "Oh, you're his best friend." I said, "What's his name?" And they give me the name. And they say, "Aren't you his best friend?" I said, "Never heard of him." You've had that happen. Come on.
I have. But I'll tell you, getting back to what Jimmy asked when, as I say, we were much younger, what happened was I was consulting for Alan Klein. I mentioned he represented the Beatles and Rolling Stones. And they asked me to be, quote, an expert witness at a trial because the Beatles did not want to re-release Let It Be, their last movie. They had gotten very bad reviews in London and England, but they hadn't gotten bad ones in America, but they were mixed. And they said the film was worthless. Now, I couldn't testify that a film with the last film where they sing songs like Let It Be was worthless. I had to say it was really worth a lot. And that's what I was there for. And he won the case, not because of me, because it was obvious that anybody would know there was value in that movie. What was interesting about it, and this is totally self-serving, so forgive me, but it's the truth.
Go for it.
I was sitting outside. I was not allowed in the courtroom to watch the proceedings. I don't know if that was the lawyers or the judge, but I wasn't allowed. Alan came running out and he said, "We're going to win. We're going to win." I said, "Why? I don't have to testify?" He said, "Of course you have to testify." I said, "Well, why?" He said, "They asked the Beatles expert witness, 'Do you know a guy named Julian Schlossberg?' And he said, 'He's the most knowledgeable man in the film business.'" Whoa.
Wow. That was good. How much did you pay him? How much did you smear him?
Ron, I'm still paying to this day.
I love you. See that New York humor? Out here, they're all dead. Or they're stoned. You could crack a joke out here. They don't get it. They really don't have the humor that, especially Jews from Brooklyn. The best comedians are Jews from Brooklyn. You know that. Name them. Name every single great comedian was a Jew from Brooklyn.
Except only one. We may not consider him great, but he was huge. Bob Hope. Cleveland.
But Bob Hope wasn't Jewish.
Right, that's what he's saying.
Oh, he was.
But you said all the great comedians.
Yeah, but Bob Hope didn't have the humor that we New Yorkers have.
It's totally different. You're absolutely right. And Danny Thomas was another. He was from Toledo. But again, he was a great storyteller more than a stand-up comic.
Eddie Cantor, Milton Berle,
Woody Allen.
Woody Allen. Jesus Christ.
Don Rickles.
Joan Rivers.
Oh, Don Rickles.
Joan
That's
Rivers.
somebody I met before. I met Don Rickles.
And I knew Joan Rivers well. That's one of the happy days of my being out in California, was meeting her. I knew Debbie Reynolds well. And as I said this before, we were doing a thing at Joan Rivers was doing jokes at the comedy club, and she invited all of us there private night to see her jokes. If we liked them, we wrote them down. If not, we didn't. Now we're leaving. And Debbie said, Ron, I got to talk to you for a couple of minutes. Come in the limo with me. Well, I get in the limo. Joan Rivers is sitting there. I'm in between Joan Rivers and Debbie Reynolds. Well, there must have been 3,000 fucks flying. The language, I said, where's the camera? I have an Emmy Award-winning performance with these two broads. They didn't stop. They did not stop. One fed the other, and they didn't even listen to each other. They both spoke at the same time. Julian, I'm telling you, it was the highlight of living in California. That was worth it.
You know, I'm sure you both probably know this, but Debbie was a sensational mimic. Sensational.
Oh, she did Marilyn Monroe. She did everybody.
You know, she could
Zsa Zsa Gabor was exactly like Zsa Zsa.
I mean, you really would close your eyes, and she could really do that. So it's amazing. I've always been amazed by the talented people in our business who so often end up, you find out they're great painters or terrific piano players. For example, Jack Lemmon was a top piano player, put himself through Harvard that way. Warren Beatty could really play the piano. We know he played other things, but he certainly could play the piano. And, you know, Van Johnson and Gene Hackman or Peter Falk.
Oh, I knew Van Johnson. I knew Van Johnson and his lover.
All right, there's our first one.
Okay, wait a minute. Did you know Joseph, his doctor who lived in the building?
His doctor.
His doctor.
Ron, I love the fact that you know proctologists and doctors and this is great.
Listen, all the Jews stick together. What can I tell you? None of them are contractors, all right? Listen, so Van Johnson lived in the building 402 because they said 2 out of 4 are gay. Anyway, he and his lover lived there, and I used to go there for dinner at Joseph's, the doctor who owned the building. And did you know Joseph? I forgot his last name.
No. Did you know Joseph the doctor?
Doctor, what's his name? I mean, did you know Chita Rivera?
No. Met her, but I didn't know her. She killed me in Mr. Wonderful. I was about, 18, and she came wiggling on, and that was a pretty hot stuff for me.
One of the greatest talents of our day is Chita Rivera. And understated.
She's still doing it. You know what you guys should get? Who should get? Oh, I've got to get you guys, maybe. Nancy Olson is going to be 95. Sunset Boulevard, the ingenue. And she was married to Alan J. Lerner and Alan Livingston. You remember Alan Livingston, that name?
The name is very familiar. Alan Livingston. Give me something. I know the name.
Capitol Records. He took over. It was on its ass. He brought in Sinatra. He put Sinatra with Nelson Riddle, and the rest was history. Nat King Cole, Peggy Lee. I mean, he took and made Capitol the record company when we were growing up.
We got to.
The
stop.
name is Beryl Davis. Did you know Beryl Davis? Her husband ran Capitol Records.
Well, it must have been before or after Alan, because Alan was in charge for many years.
For how many years?
I don't know.
Because
I'm still working.
Davis was a singer, and her husband, whose name I forgot, was an initial name. Maybe he didn't run it, but he was a big shot up.
Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. You're
coming back.
Yes.
You're coming back.
I'm ready.
What we're gonna do is have you come back after Ron reads the book.
I'm gonna leave Jimmy for you and make you gay. How do you like that?
He's got a wife because he told me last night when we were talking.
It's okay.
No, I'm not. Listen, Ron, I'm not on your team, but I have a lot of friends.
No. After you meet me in person, you'll leave your wife for me. We'll get married. We'll be happy.
I have to confess, my heart is fluttering.
So what we'll do, Julian,
this is why I love New York.
I'll send you an email, and we'll pick another date, and Ron will read the book, and I won't schedule anybody. We'll keep you on for the whole show, and that way, way he can guess all the people that you might know for 2 hours. and it'll be a lot of fun.
You know what? What's wonderful about our show? People love it because we drop so many names. Yeah. The audience loves to know inside dish. You know that. They want to know what we think, eat, breathe, and sleep. So that's what, we're the number one podcast in the world. We have over 5 million people watching you right now throughout the world.
Now I'm going to get nervous.
No, but wait a minute. And the reason being is that we are who we are and we drop names. See, I always tell everybody when they come on the show, make believe we're in Brooklyn in the projects, eating crumb cake, Entenmann's crumb cake and coffee, and we're just talking. All right?
That's what we did.
And that's what we did.
Three of us just did.
And you are a wonderful guest.
Listen up, you guys. The name of the book is Try Not to Hold It Against Me, A Producer's Life by Julian Schlossberg. We're going to have him back in a couple of weeks. I'll email you later.
I will read the book, and you know me, folks. I'm honest. So he may not like some of the stuff I may say,
you'll love it.
But I'll probably love the book.
Welcome to BreezeLine, where you'll say, "Ta-ta, T-Mobile, our home internet is just plain better. More reliable and faster because we put internet first. If there's network congestion, we won't slow your internet down like T-Mobile does to help their cell customers. And right now, you can try out a true internet experience with BreezeLine's reliable and fast fiber-powered home internet. Find your perfect speed with prices starting at $19.99 a month for 24 months. Terms and conditions apply. Go to breezeline.com to learn more.
Because it's about my people, my time, my youth.
And I you can say whatever you want to me, Ron. It would be.
I'm sure we'd love it. Julian, I bet you I read that book in like a day and a half.
I bet you do, because there's no chapter more than 4 or 5 pages.
How many pages is the book?
Oh, that's a lot. About 330.
No, he'll read it quick.
I can read that fast.
All right.
I'll tell you what I'd love you guys to read: The Casting of Sly Fox. That's what I'd love you to read. Okay.
All right. Julian, thank you so much for coming on. We'll talk to you soon. I'll shoot you an email later.
You're a delight.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. I really, really enjoyed myself. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And
you
I'll
should live to be 105, and then after that, kill yourself.
And the last voice you hear is mine?
Yeah. All right, Julian. Thank you. Bye.
Bye, Julian.
Hey, everybody.
Bye. What a great guest. What a great guest. I so enjoyed myself today.
All right, now we're going to bring on our next guest.
Yes.
We're going to rock and roll. Hey, Astro, come on up. Go ahead and bring on Currie, Juan. Hello.
Gentlemen.
How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
We're good. All right. Now that I know I can hear you, now we're going to introduce you. All right, everybody. Now we want to welcome to the Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell, the amazingly talented Currie Graham. Hello and welcome to the show. How was that?
Ron, what do you got there in your lap? And
I got my little baby, Astro, my love of my life.
Beautiful.
My buddy.
We have 3 rescues.
And this is my buddy. He's my best friend.
He goes everywhere.
What kind of dog is Astro?
He's a rescue. Number one, he's a rescue. Yep, and he's poodle and terrier, half and half.
And he's nice. 7 pounds.
7 pounds.
Sleep in the bed?
Yeah.
Sleeps under like
our arm.
No, he sleeps under my chin. He does. He curls up right under my chin. He makes out with me all the time. I'm like, what do they call it?
You know what? He's got gratitude.
Yes, it's so funny because he didn't want a little dog, right? We had a big dog. We have big dog. We have a.
I hope it's gratitude, not bestiality.
We have a 130-pound Brazilian Mastiff, Fila Mastiff, and then we have a 30-pound English Sheepdog Terrier mix. And he never wanted a little dog, and I wanted a little dog because I had a poodle and it died. So we went to get the little dog at Coachella. Is a big concert here, and when they had Coachella going on, they did Poochella, where you could go and adopt dogs. And so I found the dog, and I wanted the dog, and I had to go get money because they only took cash. And then the time I left the dog with him to go to the bank to get money to come back to buy the dog, like it wasn't my dog anymore. It was his.
That's beautiful, though. I love that.
No, it's fabulous.
Dogs know the master that truly loves. They know.
They do.
And
they know good people. They do.
I hug him, I kiss him, I talk to him, I educate him.
And his middle name is Rocco, which is like
if you go by the saints,
it's the saint of dogs.
Saint of dogs.
So anyway, this is Ron Russell, my cool, outrageous man about town co-host.
Did you listen to the first guest?
I listened to. I caught the last few minutes of it.
Isn't that interesting? That man is like the royalty of New York. He has worked and knows some of the biggest people in theater. It was so refreshing because we always do Hollywood. So it's nice for our viewers to hear about New York City.
And now you're going to hear about. Now we're going to hear Currie's Hollywood.
Now we're going to hear Hollywood.
People, so say hi to everybody in the chat room.
Hey, I started. Hey, everybody, welcome.
Wait, I want to ask you one question. How'd you get the name Currie?
It's a Scottish tradition. It's a Scottish name, and the Scottish tradition is if the parents only have a daughter, the daughter has a son, and they give the maiden name to me.
Okay.
So my mom was an only child. Her name was Shelley Currie. She was an only child. So when I was born, I carry on the family name Currie by making it my first name.
First name, I got it. It's a nice name, Currie. I like it.
Thank you. It's an old Scottish name. That's it.
and you know what? You won't forget it because I've never heard it before.
You know, it's funny. I had a driver one time come to my door, and he knocked on the door, and he was probably about 85 years old. And he said, "Hello, I'm here to drive you to the airport." And he said, "I normally don't take fares anymore. I don't do the trips to the airport. But I have to say, you're the only other Currie Graham I've ever known." We had the same name.
You're kidding.
The same name. And it turns out when we drive to the airport, it turns out we're related. Like his
actually related.
We were actually related.
What are the chances of that?
We're from Canada, where I was born.
What are the chances of that ever happening?
Like 0.
1,000,001. More than that. That's amazing.
So how did you act? So, because I think that one thing, so I've always been a big fan of a lot of the stuff that you've done. Some of it isn't probably the stuff that's more popular, but it's the stuff that just always resonates with me. And I think that I didn't know some of the things that you were in until I invited you to come on the show. But you don't have a fucking dog on your IMDb. Every actor has some shit that they had to do before they ever got a break. And like, even the stuff you did when you very first started was like top of the line, like major shit. How did you do that?
I don't know, man. I got lucky, I guess. I lived a little life before I became an actor. You know, I went to theater school in New York, and when I got out, I spent like 4 years in Brooklyn doing things.
Brooklyn? That's the best education you ever got.
I'm telling you, Prospect Park, Sheepshead Bay, Brighton Beach, Coney Island. I was all in there for about 4 years. So I got a great education. It was real world. It was, it was the late 80s. So it was kind of the Wild West, and got a great education. And, I hadn't acted in a few years, and I did a little show about two guys in the bathroom of a punk rock nightclub, and some agents saw it. ICM saw it, and some managers, and they were like, "Let's go."
That's good. That's how it happens.
And
awesome.
I started working, and I've been, very blessed and lucky.
You see, my career started with Jimmy. I sleep with the producer because Jimmy's the producer of my movies. So I have to sleep with him to get a part in the movie.
Literally or metaphorically, we all do it.
So some of the things, just to brag a little for some of the people, for some of the things. So first of all, and I know you're only on 9 episodes, but still to this day, I think that Boston Legal is one of the best written shows ever made, ever. I love attorney shows. And I think that was like one of the greatest shows. I never missed an episode. I've probably seen all of them a million times. But Boston Legal, NYPD Blue, that was like a huge thing because that was like a long time ago. NYPD Blue, that's huge. I love Raising the Bar. Again, it's all the legal stuff. You're in a lot of legal stuff, so that's one reason why I like you. Raising the Bar, phenomenal. Suddenly Susan with
Suddenly Susan
with Brooke Shields, which is another great one.
I remember that. More
currently, Agent Carter, a couple episodes, a bunch of episodes of Murder in the First. And back when I thought I was straight, Kathleen Robinson was like totally like my thing. So just the fact that you got to work with Kathleen Robertson is so cool.
You know what? My very first movie that I ever did was with Kathleen.
Oh, was it really? What was it called?
It was called, I don't know what the final title was, but it was Survive the Night. And it was like some cable movie, and I was the bad guy, and she was the ingenue, and I think she ended up killing me. But that's where I first met her. And then we flash forward, we end up doing a series together for Botchko.
And I think that she is so cool. If everybody who doesn't know who she is, she was also like on Beverly Hills 90210.
When I did that, my first movie with her, I had such a huge crush on her.
Oh yeah, she's just freaking awesome.
She was beautiful and she was talented and smart and a lovely human being.
So you also have a lot of great movies with a lot of cool people, and I'm going to bring one of them up because we're actually trying to get one of the people in it to be in Ron's movie. It's called Money for Nothing with James Gandolfini, Philip Seymour Hoffman, Debbie Mazar.
Which
we're working on. John Cusack, Michael Madsen, and Benicio del Toro.
You worked with Debbie?
I did.
How is she to work with?
I loved her. I thought she was beautiful and talented and funny as hell.
But she's easy to work with.
Very easy to work with.
Yeah, because we're considering her to be the lead in my movie.
She'd be great. I don't know what your movie is, but just in terms of
she plays a Jewish housewife, 1943, who's a bookie.
He wrote it for her.
Actually, he wrote it for Lainie Kazan, but
Lainie's not able.
So probably for her, yes. I think
she would be really good. She's super nice and professional and talented. I think you'd be happy.
We also have a big fan base of horror movie people who watch the show. Ron's in a lot of horror movies, and that's how I actually started this show 15 years ago. I started out because I was
chuckled.
I was a horror.
Chuckled.
I know, but I was.
I'm going to kill him.
I was a horror movie. I'm a horror movie fan. And when I started, let me stop.
No, I got to get him. What was your name again? Flurry, was it? Was it Flurry?
Furry.
No, it's not a great movie.
Furry.
Okay,
he chuckled when he heard horror movies.
I know because when I started this show back in 15 years ago, the whole purpose was to start it out as horror. Everybody was
very handsome when you smile. You know, when you smile,
thank you.
You're very handsome.
So you did.
It's hideous.
You did Cabin Fever 3. I'm actually really good friends with Serena Vincent, so she was the star of the first Cabin Fever. Fever 3, Patient Zero. Maybe like it was just a time, when the roles weren't coming in and you just took it. It's not the greatest movie, but it's a cool horror movie anyway. And the fact that it's almost like the only thing on your resume that's actually like a horror movie. That's not like a thriller.
That's why I took it. I'd never done a horror movie. It just came to me. It was shooting in Dominican Republic for like a month and a half or something. And I was like, you know what? I'll go to the Dominican. And I knew Sean Astin was going to do it.
Yes.
And I like Sean. He's a good dude. And so I'm like, if he's going to do it, we'll go to Dominican. We're going to have a great time. And it was. We shot in some cave in the middle of downtown. It was super cool. We were in it. We had a hurricane. There was a giant hurricane, flooded everything out. They were going to evacuate us. And then they weren't going to evacuate us. And our base camp was like 4 feet of water. And people were going to walk in, but they were like, no, there's electricity. It was mayhem.
Okay, Currie, so you're laughing, right? My first movie was with Sophia Loren and Tab Hunter, okay? I was 19 years old. My career has only escalated since then. I just finished doing Clown Motel 2.
Let me ask you a question, Ron. Were there clowns?
Yes, there's clowns.
Oh, there you go. Hey, you know who's a great clown? Have you ever heard of Puddles?
Yes.
Oh, sure.
Puddles Pity Party.
Puddles. Yeah, I just my buddy just went to see a show, and he sent me a little clip of Puddles singing some song. I forget what it was, but it was amazing. That dude is so talented.
He was on America's Got Talent. That's how he got his kind of like everybody started to know who he is. And I've seen all of his videos on America's Got Talent, and he puts out a new video like every week on YouTube. He's cool.
Crazy talented, that guy.
Yeah, he's crazy talented, and it's a lot of fun. So basically, you do lawyer shows. You did one horror movie, and also you've done some cool like Ron likes all the alien shit.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm dying to beat an alien movie.
Like I just saw that you did a movie called The 11th Green. We live in Palm Springs, so I saw the trailer for it, and it's all in Palm Springs. I mean, the trail. Did you actually film the whole movie here?
Yeah, we filmed it all in Palm Springs. Yeah, in some house. Was it Palm Springs?
I know they showed the tram in the desert and everything.
What was it about gay Martians?
No, but who says the Martians weren't gay? We never got into their
because if they're Martians,
their orientation, Ron.
No, but if they're Martians that came to Palm Springs, they have to be gay, and they heard about the clubs.
You know what? I'm sure they were, but it was me and Campbell Scott, and if there had been gay Martians, we would have been cool, man.
I love it.
You know what? It would have been a better party. If you dressed better.
Yeah, they would have dressed better. Where do you actually live? Do you live in California?
Yeah, I live in L.A.
Okay, so we go to L.A. a lot, but we're in Palm Springs.
Palm Springs is awesome.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a little hot. And Ron misses the East Coast. You know, he's a New Yorker, so he misses the
Now, which one? Are you both from Brooklyn?
Don't he?
No, I'm from Brooklyn. He's from Florida. He's from Palm Beach, the island. He's a big snob. I came from the projects of Brooklyn with the
whereabouts, Ron?
Red Hook projects.
Oh shit! Yeah, that's nice now, though.
Well, it was
now.
In 1940. It was beautiful. It was a new concept. You know, it was all parks and big swimming pools. It was a luxury place to live in 1940. Then it declined and became a slum and a horrible place to live. And now maybe it's regentrified itself. I don't know.
Ron's going to be 83. He's going to be 83 next month.
Yeah, I'll be 83.
Oh, wow. You look great, dude.
Thank you. Well, that's because they blurred me out.
Right. Nice soft lighting.
No, he always looks good. He looks very good.
I always tell DPs, whenever I go to shoot, I always tell DPs, like me like a woman.
Yes, that's
like
good.
Me like a pretty girl.
Right. It's all about the lighting. There's no question about it.
So do you like doing TV better? Do you like better, TV or movies, or you don't care as long as it's cool?
Oh, I TV.
I have to say, I really like TV. I really enjoy the pace of it.
You do?
I do.
Are you kidding?
You don't have any trouble memorizing lines, though, right?
No, I don't.
Okay.
And you don't.
I work hard. I work hard.
You like that quick on off do da 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 da.
I also like the ability to explore characters and stories in more depth. Right?
How's that?
Well, we're doing 10 episodes. If you're going to do 10 episodes, or like in the old days, we do 20. You get to really explore a character. You get to spend more time with this character. You really get to understand them, and you get to sort of predict what they're about to do. You know them so well. It's like when I was doing network television, people would greet me like they knew me because I'm in their house every week.
That's right.
And they spent so much time with me that they felt like we were buddies. And I like that. I worked with Spader a lot and on Boston Legal, and he used to talk about that too, that he really enjoyed doing television because he liked the pace and he liked the storytelling.
I did TV. I hated the pace. I like the stage. To me, is really where it's at. If you want to not make money and you want to be an actor, of course.
Which is exactly what I aspired to do, was to not make money and be an artiste.
Yes.
Actually, stage pays nothing. I mean, Brad Pitt gets $15 million a movie. If he went on the boards, he'd get $5,000 a week.
He'd get paid. I have some friends of mine that are celebs.
Oh, you think he'd get paid more?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if they're a big star,
the celebs that I know personally that have gone on and done live theater, they got paid.
But they don't make $15 million like a movie.
No, they don't make $15 million, but they're not making $5K a week. Maybe $5K a week per diem.
There you go. I'll take it. So I think that I don't do theater anyway. So I'm not an actor. I'm behind the scenes. I'm the producer anyway. So I
told you I
like
sleep
my place
with him
there
to get my work.
And I like being there. But I like all the stuff. It's funny because what actually made me think to look for you on social media is we watched The Accidental Witness. It's on Tubi or someplace with Natasha Wagner. Yep, and I thought, oh, there's Currie Graham. I love Currie Graham. I wonder what he's like doing, Now
I know who he is. Okay, I got it all.
And that was like for like a made-for-TV or I don't know, Lifetime or whatever that was. That's a pretty fun film to watch. You're like good in it. She's good in it.
I've seen you around. He's
been in everything.
Yeah, I've seen so many things. You've been around.
Desperate Housewives. She was in every major. But the thing that's fun about you is that you're in every major TV show. If you didn't do one episode, you're like a main character in like some of the biggest shows that have ever come out. One of my favorites, because like we're friends with John Barrowman, is Arrow. He's on Arrow. He's the dark archer on Arrow, and I'm a superhero person. He lives right down the street from us here. And
that's my friend was the showrunner, creator of that.
Okay, it's a great show.
Are you friends with John?
Do you know?
I'm friends with Mark Guggenheim, who was the showrunner
of the TV show.
Yeah,
John is a character. He is the funniest guy in the world. Crazy, funny.
So who are some of what are some of your more favorite things that you've actually done? Like the things that you like. I know what everybody else, like a lot of other people like, but what are some of the things that you've had the most fun doing?
Well, I have to say, I just finished 1923 with Harrison Ford and Helen Mirren, and I had yes, sir.
I'm joking. Helen Mirren. Oh, you worked with her?
Yeah, no, I didn't work with her. We were just on the same show. I've done two. I've done a movie with her and a show with her, and never met her.
I would kill you.
Are they going to bring you back again? Or?
No,
Yeah.
I would.
Oh, that's good.
I would kill you to get you a part to work with her.
I mean, I did this movie. I did a little role in this thing called Hitchcock, and a lot of it got cut out with Tony Hopkins and Helen Mirren, and I got to work with Tony, and he was.
What does she like to work with?
She's great. She's a lovely woman, really down to earth. It's funny. The most talented people that I've met are some of the coolest people.
Absolutely.
They don't have a lot of baggage.
Actually,
when I started on 1923, I walked on set. He was the first person to greet me.
Oh, wow. Harrison Ford.
Harrison, listen, I was walking in Manhattan with my daughter, Deirdre. She was young. And we passed a pet store where they were filming one of Harrison's movies. And one of the guys was yelling at the kids not to look at the dogs in the window. They weren't shooting. Harrison was standing there. So I walked over to him. I said, Harrison, let the kids watch the friggin' dogs. What's the big deal? You're not shooting. He said, you're right. Just a minute. He went over and told the guy, let the kids do it. And they did. He's a regular Joe.
That's him.
In the chat room, they're actually asking how it was to work with him.
I like
Harrison's
a regular Joe. If you know that expression from my day, a regular Joe means like a G.I. Joe, a real good guy.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah, he
was super funny.
Tall and handsome.
Well, he's pretty tall. He's charming as hell. He's very humble. He's very gracious.
Soft-spoken, very soft-spoken.
Very soft-spoken, but really
good actor.
Incredibly funny. Way funnier than I thought he would be.
We actually had on the show from Hitchcock, we've had Richard Portnow, Ralph Macchio, and Spencer Garrett on the show. And,
Spencer's a friend of mine, yeah.
So they've all been on the show, and Ron was friends with Tippi. Is friends
I'm
with
still
Tippi
friends
Hedren.
with Tippi.
He hasn't seen her in a while.
I did a pilot with Tippi.
What pilot did you do?
Oh, I don't remember. It was a pilot we shot in New York. It was sort of an upstairs, downstairs thing about nannies and rich people. It all took place in the same building. Tippi was in it. We had just a stacked cast. It was amazing.
I have to have you
do.
She's
one of my favorite people, and I'm sorry to say that she's not really feeling well because she had a surgery, and due to the stuff that they knock you out with, to put you to sleep.
Sure.
It damaged her memory a bit.
That's too bad because she was lovely.
Oh, she's still lovely. I mean, I saw her a couple of years ago, and she was wonderful.
Do me a quick favor.
I love
Tippi. We have a fan in the chat room. Her name is Dawn Hinton. Just say Dawn. Just say hi to Dawn. She's like,
hey, Dawn, how are you? Where are you calling from?
Bakersfield. She lives in Bakersfield.
Bakersfield, California, baby.
She's saying she loves the hat you wear on the show and she's the one asking me all the questions about working with Harrison Ford and everybody. So I think it's like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a great set. And it was funny, a funny story. Timothy Dalton's on that show as well.
Yes.
Who?
And Timothy Dalton and I worked a lot together.
Well, what's going on with him? What's doing with Timothy Dalton?
He's on this show.
No, but
he's on 1923. He's working all the time. He's
been around forever.
He's such a talent and such a lovely guy. We had dinner every night.
Good
and,
for you.
And it was funny because I was telling a buddy of mine, I was working with 007 in the morning and Indiana Jones in the afternoon.
Yeah, I know. That's the coolest thing ever.
I feel so sorry for you.
You look at these two characters and you go, "Holy shit!" And then you end up working with them. It was really a special moment.
What a bummer, isn't it? I feel so sorry. I could smack you all over the room you're in. I could just smack you from pillar to post.
You know what? After living in Brooklyn,
I'm so sorry.
I don't think you could smack me harder than my mom did. So
trust me that you're bitching about. Oh, excuse me. Look at the.
So I have a question. So you also a show that we like a lot.
Which one?
And you only did an episode of it, but I just want to know how was it? Like The Marvelous Miss Maisel, because he loves that show.
I love that show.
That was the attention to detail. That shows like that show feels like a musical.
Yes.
With no music.
Yes, a theater, it's stage.
That's what it feels like. It feels like I was dropped into this musical, but there's no music, and it's the writing and the acting and the talent, the people. It's really special, and they really pour their heart and soul into that show.
It's a great show.
It shows.
It's a great
every detail, every move, every motion, every camera angle, every light.
One of my up there with my favorite shows. Now I don't have too many favorite shows. Most of the I watch, I have to watch everybody's movie. So Jimmy and I watch 2 movies a night every single night.
Wow.
And some nights,
unless we're going to an event,
we have to, because these are people that he represents or we work with.
I'm a publicist,
and I work with all these people. I mean, they're in my film. I'm in there. You know how it is. Your buddy's in the film. You watch it out of courtesy, and it's garbage. Especially the horror movies that I'm in. They're also bad.
Which is my next question to you, because you've done a little bit of everything. You've done some stuff that's not super, high budget, up to all the way where you got like Pompeii, which I don't know what the budget was, but it's like a huge $100 million. So like how he did a movie called Pompeii.
I saw that.
The Marvelous Kid Harington.
Wait, who were you in Pompeii?
I was the my name was Bellator.
I love that movie.
Did you?
Yes, it's about Pompeii.
Oh, that's so nice, because so many people stop me on the street and tell me how much they didn't like it.
No, it was a good movie.
Because they don't understand Pompeii. That's why.
No, it was good. And Kit Harington, come on, he's like a superstar too. I mean, it has
Pompeii has one of the most wonderful histories of all history. Pompeii and Egypt are leading in history. And
Kit Harington and I became really good friends on that. We're still close. We still talk. And as an observer, objectively, he has beautiful hair.
Oh yeah,
that's all I'm saying.
What did people dislike about that film?
Oh, they didn't think it was believable. They didn't.
I think they tried. I think people tried comparing it to Troy, the Brad Pitt movie. I think,
that was a dog. I actually thought Pompeii was more fun. I thought Pompeii was better, and everybody in it did a great job. Don't forget, it's a history that nobody knows anything about. It's all assumed.
It's true. And you know what? I don't care. As long as people are like, oh, I hated you in the movie. You were an asshole. I go, good. As long as you felt something, I don't care if you liked it or not.
No, let me take it. I'm a good critic.
The best time.
We'll have to watch it again.
I'm a very good critic. It was a good movie. And if
I had a great time.
You were in it, you did a good job, because I didn't find anybody in it that should have been fired.
You also have a movie called Born a Champion, which he won't watch because he doesn't like those kind of movies. But
boxing?
It's like an MMA. But like, is that actually out that we could see it? Because I'd actually like to see it.
I think it's out. I haven't followed. I got a call to come do a little thing, and it was I can't remember the guy.
That's a dog barking. Somebody's walking in front of the room.
W. Fields said, never work with children or dogs.
You know what? The dog is doing its job.
Yes, he's protecting us. He's protecting us. He's 7 pounds, so he's not going to do too much, but nobody will ever come near us.
I'm still upset about Pompeii. There's such shit on television that they rave about. Garbage, hideous crap with a message. Everything has a message today. Do this, do that, say this, say that. Don't say this, don't say that. Go out with this one, don't go out with that one. I mean, it's nonsense. So you get something like Pompeii that's a historical story, and the stupid people don't have the intellect to understand the movie.
And sometimes it's about fun, right?
Yes.
Is the movie entertaining and fun, or is it not?
Actually, everything should be fun, like realistically, unless it's a heavy-duty drama about murder or something.
The CGI could have been better, but the budget probably wasn't that great.
$100 million.
$100 million, they could have done better CGI. on the Vesuvius exploding could have been better. But it was okay.
But it was fun.
It was passable.
So Oh, now you made me lose my train of thought. So no, that's what I want to know. Okay, so you've done the 100 million and you've done the low budget. Like, how is that for you? The difference, like mostly, so I'm an independent producer. So basically, we, I don't do I do movies like in the $1 to $6 million range primarily, is what I produce. So I've never done $100 million movies. I did the
my name goes over the title.
I did the costume design for Too Fast, Too Furious. So I've worked on big films before, but I've never produced a $100 million movie. But like, how is that for you? Like, comparably speaking, is it is there a huge difference for you in doing the $100 million film and doing the $2 million film?
No, because my process is my process, and I love to perform. I love to act, and I love to have an opportunity to interpret characters.
Exactly.
And so for me, it's not about the budget or how fancy my trailer is or whether my clothes are handmade or rented. For me, it's really about trying to create and interpret a character that people identify with, that makes them feel something. And I'll tell you, man, my nirvana happens between action and cut.
Okay.
That's my happy place. Between action and cut, everything disappears. Life is gone, and I'm just there in this world. And I get 30 seconds, a minute, 2-3 minutes of just bliss. It's my happy place.
I love it. So one of my favorite questions to ask actors who come on the show, like a bucket list, and for you, it's got to be unusual because you've already worked with the biggest stars on the planet. But bucket list, male and female, if anybody that you would love to work with that you haven't had an opportunity to work with yet. And then the second half of the question would be, if you could have ever been in any movie that's ever been made, what movie would you have liked to have been in? And the bucket list, they could be somebody living or dead. They don't even have to be alive because it's just
somebody living or dead. My bucket list, huh? That's a big one. I'm going to circle back on that. A movie that I would have liked to have been in.
Oh, your favorite movie?
I don't know. Like, I guess I loved Ben-Hur when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. I thought it was an amazing movie. I loved Peter O'Toole in
Lawrence of Arabia.
My favorite movie.
When I saw that man's face on screen in a close-up looking out over the dunes with those piercing blue eyes, I thought, wow, I'd love to work with that guy. Whatever he's doing, whatever he's got going on behind that face, behind those eyes, I would love to be involved with that. I would love
Omar Sharif looked fabulous, too. Two gorgeous guys on that screen. That was a wonderful movie, wonderful soundtrack.
They have he had that special thing, you know, where you look at someone. I remember working with Philip Seymour Hoffman, and we were shooting a scene, and neither of us had lines in the scene, but somebody pulled out a wad of cash that they weren't supposed to have. And I remember Philip Seymour's reaction, nonverbal reaction to seeing this wad of money during the scene. And I thought, he's got that special thing.
Yep.
Yes.
There was a special spark.
It's called acting. Something that's
stardom.
It's really called acting because a lot of people don't know how to act. I work with a lot of people that I get very upset with because some of the shitty movies that I'm in, they hire anybody that's got $5,000 to get in a film. They've never acted a day in their life. They just gave the producer $5,000 and suddenly you have to do lines with them and they're cardboard. Now, you know as well as I do, an actor feeds you. We feed each other. If we don't feed each other, the scene blows, okay? It's a dead scene. What am I talking about? I lost my whole brain. Anyway.
Working with actors.
Yeah, it's called acting. I like working with actors. I probably would like working with you because I think you're going to be a good actor from what I've seen. But working with
a great actor.
No. I wouldn't say great because I've never worked with him. When the people I could say are great that I've worked with, I forgot who they are, but anyway.
Nothing like his.
No, there are a few. Tab Hunter was a very good actor in spite of the fact they said he couldn't act his way out of a paper bag.
He doesn't like people who read lines.
No.
And that's what you get in a lot of the lower budget stuff.
Going back to what you said with the wad of money. I tell everybody, when you deliver a line, don't just do this. And now you have very nice eyeglasses. I wish I had your eyeglasses. That's not how you do it. You do this. You have very nice eyelashes. I wish I had your eyelashes. Because hands tell a story. And I'm sure that's what he did. When he saw The Wad of Money, he told a story.
He did.
With his face. That's called acting.
So did you always want to be an actor? Because you said you started late, but you did go.
I don't know, man. I was supposed to. I had aspirations to be a doctor. I was. I come from a very academic family. My background. My father was superintendent of education. He wrote math textbooks. I was valedictorian in my school. I was sort of on that path of academia, and I thought probably medicine. And, my drama teacher, I played a lot of sports in high school. So I thought my senior year, I'm going to take drama because it sounds easy and I can sleep and relax before I go play games. That's really what I thought. And I was in the beanbag chairs and I was like, they're doing stuff. And something sparked. And when I went down to a medical, to do an orientation at medical school, my drama teacher called my dad and said, he shouldn't be a doctor. He should be an actor. And my dad passed on the message. He said, listen, if that's something you want to do, that's on you. And I just made it happen. I made the phone calls. I took the bus from Canada, from my little town in Canada, town of 1,100 people in Canada, to New York City. I did the audition. I took the bus home, and I got in.
Where are you from in Canada?
A little town in eastern Ontario called Cardinal, Ontario.
My ex-wife was from Ontario.
Do you know Steve
lot
Basic?
Of Dutch people up there.
Do you know Steve Basic? BACIC? No, he's a.
I don't know why I even bothered making that point about my ex-wife. I hated her.
Is she still in Canada?
No, she's dead.
She's dead.
She's dust. She's upstate New York in the fields. She's dust.
I'm sorry, but I don't know that.
Well,
don't be sorry. She was a wicked woman.
So, what did you play in high school? What kind of sports did you play?
I was kind of I played basketball. I played soccer. I played football. I did track. I did all that stuff. I loved it. I really wanted to go to university on a basketball scholarship.
You're tall, right? How tall are you?
I'm 6'3".
Yeah, you're pretty tall.
You're tall.
But I don't think my basketball talent was as good in reality as it was in my mind.
Right.
That's how I was with tennis. Even though I did get a tennis scholarship, but
did you really?
But I was thinking I was going to be a tennis Bjorn Borg or Jimmy Connors or something back in the day, and I wasn't.
Right.
I wasn't that good, but I was good enough to play college.
He got a tennis scholarship. When I was in school, I got thrown out. At 16, they said you're going to some kind of a concentration camp school.
So hang on, we have 2 minutes. So real quick.
No, seriously. And I said, you know what? I have no intention of ever doing math. I could care less about anything. I'm an actor.
Real quick,
and I'm going to be an actor, and I'm going to win an Academy Award, and I'm going to shove it up every one of your asses when I come back to this school. I still haven't won the award, and the school is still there.
What a beautiful story.
But it's honest. It's true.
Filled with love and grace and zero resentment.
Total.
So you guys can follow Currie on Instagram. He's at Currie
are terrific. Two great guests today.
Do you have something where everybody should go watch right now that you want everybody to see? Obviously, they need to go see 1923 and at least watch your episode.
There's another show coming out on AMC. I'm not sure when, called Parish. I'm not sure the release date.
Hey, Parish, anything to do with the movie? Parish?
No, it's about it's Juan Carlo Esposito, who plays a taxi driver who gets involved in some very bad shit.
Oh, okay. The original Parish was about the farms up in Northern California.
Anyway.
That was with Troy Donahue.
So how about the 11th Green? The 11th Green, is it a good movie? Will we like it?
It's an indie film. I think it was really made for Sundance. I enjoyed it. I think it's kind of cool and interesting.
Yeah, I think he'll like it. So you guys, this is Currie.
When can we watch it?
We gotta. I think it's out now because I saw
it out?
It's out now. I'm not sure.
You watch your own shit? Do you go back and watch the stuff?
I don't watch a lot of my own shit because I'm writing all the time. I just sold a TV show, so I'm working on that. I just sold a movie, so I'm still working on that. So when I'm not acting, I'm right in the office.
You're creating.
I never watch any of the movies I'm in ever because I feel so sorry for me after I do.
People always ask me if I watch them.
I go in mourning. I go in mourning for myself.
I've already seen it.
I think that's great. I think it's a lot of fun. So we want to thank you for coming on.
Listen, I hope we meet one day in LA. Maybe we'll be on the same carpet, red carpet or something.
That would be amazing.
I want to thank you. We've had 2 wonderful guests today to make up for our lousy show last week. And I'm happy that you guys came on. You both were terrific. I had a good time. I hope our audience has, 5 million people have watched this.
They love it in the chat room.
Did you know that 5 million?
Well, you know what? That's a testament to you guys. Because you guys are funny and entertaining and knowledgeable. It makes for a fun interview, and people relate to that. People like that.
But sometimes there are dogs out there you want to shoot.
Yeah, I mean,
they're not like you. They're not like you and like what's his name, Julian.
Julian, yes.
I mean, who are wonderful guests. I get so excited when we have happy, fun guests, and then when I have the creature features on, I want to scream.
So we want to thank you for coming on the show.
Yes, and you're going to come back.
We think you're fabulous. And anytime you have anything that you want to promote, let us know. We'll bring you back anytime. You're fabulous. Thank you so much. It's really been a pleasure and an honor. And
nice to know you.
And we'll see you at the movies and on the TV show.
Thank you, gentlemen. Much love.
Thank you.
Much love.
Bye-bye.
Nice to have met you. Nice.
Bye, guys.
Hi, everybody. Thanks so much.
Bye,
Next week, we got a great show, too. So we'll see you guys next week. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Thanks, Juan. We hope everybody enjoyed. It was a good show. I really enjoyed it. We had a great show today. Thank you, chat room, and we'll see you guys next week.
Bye-bye. Have a good one.
Sunlight can turn out to be so wrong. Yeah, we in the mix. Yeah, we in the mix. It's another episode. Here we go. The Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell. Interviewing the hottest, newest, and truest of today's celebrities. Make sure to subscribe so you can get notified weekly. Jimmy Star, he's the king of cool. Ron Russell, he's a gorgeous dude. Chat room is live and you would be a fool not to vibe with us at the Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell. Come watch it live on W4CY Radio. Miss some past episodes? Download on iTunes. The Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell. It's the Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell.